Hi everyone, Diana Rankin here with messages and a prediction or two, perhaps for the week of February the 11th to the 17th. I always have to think about those dates. Daisy dog is sleeping right now, and I didn't want to disturb her. So we may or may not see her. We'll see if she wakes up. She's over on the other side of the office taking a little snooze, and she has a right to do that as a dog, and she's getting up there in years. Anyway, we'll go on with what we have to say, and we'll see if Daisy comes in. There are 3 words I want you to remember this week: grace, grit, and balance. What do I mean by those 3 words? Well, grace and grit and balance, they're pretty self-explanatory, but I want to go a little bit deeper with them. And I want to start with I hate to use the word warning, but a couple of weeks ago I did mention, if you're in the stock market, be very, very careful, because it's going to go down, and it's going to go down like overnight, and it's going to go down hard. Well, we've seen that happen here in the U.S., and that does affect the stocks in the world. I want to also say it's not over. There's more falling to come, so just be very careful. If you're in the stock market, you know it's a gamble, so just be careful. The fall is not over yet. Let me put it that way. All right. We're going to get a lot more of the same this week. We're like, if the beginning is this long, or if the situation is this long, we're not at the beginning, but we're still we're like toward the end of the beginning, if that makes sense. But we have all this ways to go. So, politically speaking, we're going to see upheavals. We're going to see it here and here and here and here. So we're going to see these upheavals coming at, different places. And as these upheavals come, they're not touching each other. They may be about the same subject, but they're not touching each other. As they start touching each other is when we're going to see major eruptions across the U.S. And we're at the beginning of that. We're still in that beginning phase of that. More is going to come. It's important that we keep ourselves in that state of calmness, in that state of grace. Now, what do I mean by this? And where do we not speak out? Do we not pay attention to what's going on? What does all this mean? I'm going to give you a couple of stories. I was in a store, a Marshall's, and I was cashing out, and the salesperson, or the cashier, associate, I'm not sure what Marshall's calls them. Anyway, the associate, I said something to her. I asked her to pack. I had some candy, some food items, some candy, and then I had a bath product or some soap. And so I asked her to pack those separately, because I didn't want the soap in with the food products. And I confused her by asking that. And I took it all myself, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I confused you," because I didn't make it clear that they weren't separate orders. I just wanted them packed separately. And so she laughed, and she kind of said, "Well, at my age, I can get confused." I said, "Oh, believe me, at my age, I can too." And she said, "Well, the good Lord," and went on in that vein. And I let it pass. I didn't say anything. But she kept it up. And I paid her, and while I was waiting for my change, I kept hearing more Christian rhetoric coming out. And I finally said to her, "I'm not a Christian." And she was shocked, just shocked that I would say such a thing. Here's this little blonde lady, or great white-haired lady, used to be blonde, saying something so outrageous. And so immediately she stopped talking and she came back to it. And I finally said, this is a secular store. So she turned her back and went and did something over at the other counter. Again, I'm still waiting for my change. I'm still standing there with my hand out, and I finally got it. And she said, bless you. And I looked at her and I said, and bless you, which of course was shocking to her. Now that's story one. Story two, I was in a, it's like a Hobby Lobby craft store, but it's not Hobby Lobby, which I might have expected an encounter like I had at Marshall's from Hobby Lobby. That would not throw me the way the one at Marshall's did. So I'm in this store, and I'm again cashing out, and the cashier asked me if I wanted to donate $1, and I said thank you. It's in a different county from where I live, and so I'm putting my dollars there right now to help the homeless there. And she went on to explain, and again, I'm waiting for my change with my hand out, because this is between paying and getting my change. And she went on to explain to me what my dollar would do. Now, I've already said no thank you, and she's gone on to explain to me what my dollar would do. And in doing all of this, she also started in with, we need to stop helping everybody and help our own. And then she carried that to the next level. And so finally, I'm getting a little frustrated, but I'm saying my own prayers to not spark anger here, because that's not going to do anyone any good, including me, least of all me. And then she starts telling me about another function they have that I could participate in, that I could come in and help with this. And I said, well, I live an hour from here, so I won't be doing that. And then she goes back to, we have to help our own. And I finally said to her, yes, we have to help our own all around the world. And I would rather spend American dollars on the people rather than on a wall. I got to the point where I couldn't help myself. I had to say something. And I smiled when I said it. And I didn't smile sarcastically. I smiled because I prayed that my heart would open before I said these things. And so she didn't know what to say to that. And so I wished her a good day. And I moved on. Now, I tell you these two stories, not to tell you that I'm great, or not to tell you that this is the perfect way of handling it, but I'm telling you these stories because I think there's that we have to live in grace, but we have to have grit. But there has to be that balance. I told these two stories to a friend who said, well, why even speak up? Because nobody's going to hear you anyway, and you're just starting an argument. And I said, well, I didn't start an argument, and hopefully they did hear me. But my friend is of the nature, let's just rise above it and not get into the fray. I agree we must rise above it. However, I think that we have to speak out. I think that it is up to each of us individually to spread love, and that takes grit. However, it also takes grit to speak up in grace, with our hearts open, not in anger. And both occurrences, the cashiers ended up not coming back at me with anger, not coming back at me with anything, being actually rather surprised at what I said. And it wasn't what I said as much as how I said it. I said it with an open heart. I said it through love. I said it not to harm them, but to say, let's think about this. Grace and grit, they are both so needed in this time in our lives. Do we speak up? Dr. Martin Luther King I believe, is the one who said, and I won't quote it exactly, but it was something to the effect, for bad things to happen, all it takes is good people not speaking up. Yes, we speak up when we see an injustice, or when we hear an injustice, or when we felt or feel, excuse me, that something is going too far, or something is showing a prejudice against another human being. Yes, I think we do have a responsibility to speak up, but not in anger, in grace. Because we won't be heard in anger anyway, but we will be heard if we speak up from our hearts through grace and grit. That's the balance. Let's see what Philip has for us this week. This is one of my books. By the way, for those of you who haven't heard yet, this book is The Found Child, is now available in print form. Excuse me, obviously. It will be available again in a few weeks as an ebook, but right now it's available in print form. If you want to know what happens after you die or before you're born, this book will tell you. It's a story, and you'll wonder at the end, is it true? Is it a fiction? Or did it really happen? The Found Child. But this is my Philip, for those of you who are new, thank you for coming. For those of you who come back every week, I am so grateful for you. And those of you who comment, thank you. You keep me going when I think, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to put myself out there. You convince me that it is helping you. So thank you for letting me know. So this is an oracle book. Each page has a different saying on it, a different wisdom. And so what we do is just flip through until we think left page, right page, and the thumb just kind of stops at one of the pages. So let's get our message for this week, shall we? Okay, we're just going to flip through. You ready? You thinking left page or right page? Get your thoughts in there, and here we go. Oh, we stopped pretty quickly there. I'm hearing right page. And as you know, I usually do also read the opposite page, but our message is the right page. And here's our message. That for which you are thankful multiplies. That for which you are thankful multiplies. If you listened to last week's message, and if you haven't, please do, we talked about gratitude and the importance of gratitude. So I think this is a good reminder that for which you are thankful multiplies. And this is so important for this week as well. If you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? If you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? It's up to us. It's up to you and me to live in that grace with the grit, to find that balance between, is there a time that there's no reason to speak out? It will only cause a problem? Or is there a time to speak up and speak out in grace and grit? Thank you, my friends. I'm so grateful that you come back every week, and Daisy says hi. We love you. We love every one of you, and we thank you for the love you send to us, and we thank you for the love you receive from us. Thank you, my friends. I love you.